All right, Jason and I want to talk to you today about guilt and embarrassment. We're humans. We all are going to experience those things on some level in some subject. Being that we talk about money, that's what we're going to talk about today. In particular, Jason and I each have experiences of having a client not responding to us and verbally letting us know that they were guilty and they were ashamed of what their current financial situation was. I, for me right now, I have a client that's just not responding. He will not get back to me. He's got his numbers in front of him. He's going through changes, divorce, new wife. There's just a lot going on. Very high income earner, but has nothing to show for it. And I think, from my understanding, what he has shared, he just is scared. He's just scared to really look at the numbers.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things, like, and we're not condemning these people and we're not trying to further embarrass them, right? And that's just one of those things. And I have a prospect that attended one of my workshops more than a year ago, and they came up to me after I saw them for the next time after a year. And I said, "Hey, have you been getting my emails? I haven't heard back from you." And they said, "Yeah, you know what? I'm so sorry. Like, I really need your help, but I am so embarrassed that I have a finance degree, and my finances, my personal finances are such a mess. It's just so embarrassing to admit and to ask for help, but I for sure need your help." And I think at this point, I was able to give that person this advice that we're going to talk about today. But I want to make sure that you're hearing us, that this is not a space that we are trying to condemn or shame you for. Everybody at some point in their life is struggling, even in the places that they are considered experts. We are experts. I am an expert, and I have to push the reset button on my finances. Sometimes I have a ton of mess, and I have to try to figure that out. But we have to have some kind of system that we put in place. Otherwise, we're truly just juggling balls in the air, and then it's just going to fall apart after a while. So let's talk about what do we do to combat the guilt, shame, and embarrassment of our personal finances. Our budget's out of control. We're not saving money the way that we want to. We're not spending the money the way we want to. We're not investing money. Like all of the things that you want to do with your money, and it's not happening. Why is that happening, and what can we do about it? So, Mike, what is the first thing that you think we can do when we're feeling the guilt, the shame, the embarrassment about our personal finances?
Well, numbers don't lie. Right? The truth is there. And what I do for clients and what I want you to do if you're watching or listening to this, know where you are today. Like truly know. And when you know where you are today, in this example, is knowing your net worth. Right? What is your net worth? How much money do you have coming in? Your income, right? In addition to that, what are your expenses? That is true today, knowing that. And we're going to look at that. We can look at it together, Jason and I, but we look at that. You look at your numbers. We have to see it as it is. Not worse than it is, not better than it is, but what it truly is. That's the very first step.
Yeah. And I think it's really important to make sure that you don't go so deep into this first step that you get lost in the weeds. Right? You want to
Mm.
say, okay, I do want to know all these numbers. I want to know, what's coming in, what's going out, where am I spending money, all that stuff. But do it on a high level. Start up high so that you can say, in general, I kind of know where my money is going. And maybe there's one or two or three categories or line items in your spending that you're like, yeah, I know I need to work on this, and I know I need to work on this. But if you go so deep that you're looking at the pennies of everything, it's going to take you a month to get through everything. And you don't want to wait a whole nother month or 2 months before you actually start planning and creating the system that we're talking about. We'll get back to the episode in just a second, but we wanted to give you a gift just for being here today. Thank you so much. We've got a 3-part video workshop absolutely free for you. This workshop is designed to help you get organized with your money so that you can give yourself a 10% raise. When you give yourself a 10% raise, you are going to have more money. And when you have more money, we will show you exactly what to do with that money so that you can get on the path to financial freedom and start living your life, your ideal life today. You're going to learn how to get out of debt. You're going to learn how to save money. You're going to learn how to free up money so that you can invest for your future. If you're unfulfilled with life, whether it be at work, in your personal life, or with your money, then this is the workshop for you. Visit sentinelcoaching.com/raise. That's sentinelcoaching.com/raise, or click the link in the description. Now, back to the episode. So it's really important to stay on the high level at this point. You're going to get deep in the weeds later. But at this point, we're going to stay high. We're going to say, okay, what do I have coming in general? What do I have going out in general? What am I doing? What's going on? What are these patterns? I would say if you are struggling with guilt, shame, and embarrassment about your money, the first thing you need to do is to separate that piece with the identity of who you are. You are not the mess that is your budget. You are not the monster that you think you are when it comes to this. Oh, I can't do this. I'm not good at math. I don't like spreadsheets. I can't figure out technology. I just don't have enough money. I must be a horrible person. That kind of language, if that's in your head, you will never be able to get out of the mess because that's the language that's constantly being talked to in your own mind. And we are our worst critics. You ask other people, they're like, "Oh no, you're not that kind of person," but we tend to talk that way. So I think that's one of the biggest steps is to pull out yourself. Your identity is not how you handle your money. You can be a good, honest, awesome, amazing person and struggle in this area or other areas. It doesn't mean that you're a horrible person. So get that out of your mind first, right? That's the step that I would say is one of the top first steps. Then you can work on the problem without feeling like you're attacking yourself.
Yeah, and I'll share my experience. The very first time I looked at my net worth, like we just talked about, I did my net worth, put my numbers on paper. I was worth negative $100,000 at my early 20s. Now I could have went down and stuck in the weeds and like, oh man, all these mistakes I made, guilt and shame, all of those things. But I looked at it, and for me, it was a wake up call. I knew I didn't want to be there. I mean, I would have been better off starting at zero, but I had 6 figures to climb out of before I could even make it to the millionaire mark, which my wife and I have made now. So for me, when I did it, it was a wake up call. It got me motivated to make changes. All right, I'm going to pay that first 1,000 off. I'm going to pay the next five, the 10,000. Oh man, this is cool. Then I hit a $0 net worth, which isn't really worth celebrating, but it was for me. Then I definitely celebrated hitting the first 6 figures, so a positive $100,000 net worth. It came soon after I became debt free back in 2013. And that was awesome.
Yeah, that's really good. Find what motivates you. I love that.
Yeah.
I think the next thing that I would say is in this system of how do you deal with your guilt, shame, and embarrassment about money is sometimes it's just okay to push that reset button. And this was my advice to this person that came up to me. I said, you know what? It's okay. It's not okay to stay here now that you know, right? You know your numbers, like Mike talked about, you know where you are, you're assessing where you are now and then you get rid of the shame, embarrassment of your identity. And then sometimes you just have to push that reset button and say, you know what? That's horrible, but that's behind me. And from today forward, I'm going to change something. Now, it might be little habits that you need to change. It might be a mindset that you need to change. It might be other things that you need to change. You might need to change who you hang out with. You might need to change where you live. Like all kinds of things could change. But push that reset button, especially when it comes to your budget, to say, you know what? The past is the past, and I can do a budget this month. I'm going to try, and I'm going to try and modify until I can figure out that system of what works for me. And everybody is a little bit different. So I pushed the reset button all the time when I was first starting out and figuring this stuff out. And it's like, ooh, this month went really well. And then the next one blew up. And you're like, what happened? I thought it was going so well. But things happen, right? Life happens and you have to adjust. And so I said, you know what? I got to push the reset button. Boop. And I pushed the reset button. And I'm like, okay, this next month, I'm going to do something different and try it again and try it again and try it again. And now it's pretty good. Like I've been doing this more than a decade and a decade and a half now. And it's like, okay, now it's starting to go. But I have months that are all over the place. So sometimes I have to push that reset button and it's okay. It doesn't mean that you're a failure. It just means you need the reset. Give yourself the permission to push that reset button.
Yes. And just to cap this off with a little bit more information of it's so much easier to hit reset if you've got your finances in order. And that's why we put together our budgeting and debt elimination course. So be sure to jump into that because when you get on a budget and you get out of debt, hitting reset isn't as scary because it's not required to have thousands of dollars in payments to pay for. Right? That's what we want to encourage you to do.
Yeah.
Become debt free.
Yeah, I think that's the capper, like Mike said, is after all of these things that we've talked about today, you have to have some kind of system that you put in place. Because if you don't replace those bad habits, then you're just going to end up right back where you were. So you got to have some kind of system. And we have created and accumulated this system in order to get out of debt, to get yourself on some kind of budget or system, cash flow plan, whatever you want to call it, get some kind of system in place so that you can make forward progress to get your money working for you. So that's fantastic. Get in there and check it out. Budget and debt elimination course. It's really cheap. I'm telling you, this is going to be some of the best money that you spend because it will change your life and it will make progress. You will be making progress going forward and you can do it. We know you can. So go check that out and we'll see you in another video.